Howdy, Northland fam. Pastor Josh here. Want to tell you about a trip that I am leading in just a couple of months in April. But before I tell you about the trip, I need to give you a little bit of a backstory because when I tell you about the trip, you're going to think, well, that's not a lot of time for me to have planned. And so let me give you the backstory. So early last year, and I say we, Pastor Gus and myself, we were going to take a trip to the Holy Land. We were going to start in Egypt and then work our way to Israel. And so we had about 40 people signed up for that trip that was supposed to take place in April this year. Well, obviously, as you might know, in October of last year, there was a conflict that erupted there in the land of Israel, and that conflict continues on today. So, what we have decided is to postpone our trip to the Holy Land until the conflict subsides. So, we don't know when that will be. We're hoping that we could take that trip in 2025. Well, so what we talked to Felipe about, and who Felipe is, he's actually a former Northlander and a former governing elder here at Northland, but he works for the travel company that we are using to take that trip to the Holy Land. Well, as you can imagine, there's a lot of cancellations that they have experienced. And so we were talking to Felipe and just threw out the idea, well, instead of going to the Holy Land, could we pivot and do the footsteps of Paul? So starting in Turkey and moving our way to Greece. And he said, absolutely. And so that's the trip that we're going to take in about 2 months in April. So it will be the footsteps of Paul. And so I'd love to invite you to join me and Pastor Gus as we take a trip through the footsteps of Paul. What's so fascinating about this is that this spring, we're going to be in the book of Acts, and we're going to cover a lot of places that the Apostle Paul went, that he ministered to, that he started churches. And so I know it's a short notice for you, but you can find details in the link below about this trip. And if you are interested, we are having a meeting this coming weekend after the 11 a.m. gathering to go over what this trip involves, how much it costs, etc. So would love for you to consider that trip in just a couple of months with Pastor Gus and myself.